Maduro runs counter to the principle of peaceful dispute resolution.
The UN chief says the Trump administration violated the UN Charter while Russia and China demand Maduro's release. Maryland Congressman Kwesi Mfume is blasting President Trump's military action in Venezuela, calling it an illegal invasion. Mfume said Trump should focus on rising costs for healthcare, groceries, and heating bills instead of, quote, playing gangster president abroad. And community members in Northridge are demanding answers after an off-duty ICE agent shot and killed a black man, Keith Porter, on New Year's Eve. Black Lives Matter LA met Monday with the DA calling for justice. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Clippers held on for a one-point win over Golden State Monday night at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. Chris Dunn's 2 free throws with 42 seconds left held up for a 103-102 victory. 24 points and 12 rebounds for Kawhi Leonard. The Lakers are on the road tonight in New Orleans. Top 5 women's college basketball teams in this week's top 25 rankings: UConn, Texas, South Carolina, 14-1 UCLA, and Oklahoma. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford finished the regular season leading the NFL with 46 touchdown passes and 4,707 passing yards. Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua led the NFL with 129 catches. In case you're curious, Stafford's 46 TD passes is not an NFL single-season record. Peyton Manning holds the record with 55 TD passes in 2013 when he was with Denver. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, it's Tavis Smiley. For 40 years, I have had the privilege, and I don't use that word lightly, the privilege of sitting down with presidents, world leaders, authors, artists, activists, the folk who shape our world. Thousands of conversations, tens of thousands of questions. And somewhere along the way, I realized that the art of conversation is dying. So here's what I'm going to do about it. I am now going to teach what these almost 40 years have taught me: how to have conversations that matter. 6 courses, from the anatomy of a great conversation to generous listening as a superpower to handling difficult exchanges without losing your dignity or your mind. Go to TavisTalks.com right now. That's TavisTalks.com. Download the free guide, see what's coming, sign up to be the first to know when we launch the series. Conversation is a skill, and like any skill, it can be taught. I'll see you in class.
First things first.
Things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not doing serious. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DePrima go way back. Tag Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in to First Things First with the Queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DePrima. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning. Good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DePrima. The show is called First Things First, and my very first thing every day is prayer, giving thanks, giving praises, and asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders. And let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, yeah, we got a full house around here today, and I'm very happy about that. It's the first Talking Point Tuesday of the year, and this is how it goes down. Hour 1, we look local. Hour 2, we go national, international, and beyond. In the third hour, we do a deep dive on a hot topic with a hot person or person of interest. Well, today is no exception to that. I will be talking with attorney Nana Giamfi in hour 3, looking at what I call it, captures. I don't know. We're going to talk about immigration and how the situation in Venezuela is impacting that on a global level. There's the legalities, but also the supposedly unintended consequences, coups, captures, and citizenship. That's what I said I was going to call it. Then hour 2, we'll be doing the Talking Point Tuesday thing with my favorite Republican. KBLA host John Wood Jr. joins me in studio. Right now, though, we're looking to the left coast, what's happening on the Pacific Ocean side of town, this time with national implications. Akili, a.k.a. Baba Akili of Black Lives Matter LA. He's also the founder of the Fannie Lou Hamer Institute. But what people often forget is he has decades of experience in electoral politics, working on campaigns inside and outside of the halls of power. Akili, good morning.
Good morning, Dominique, and good morning to the KBLA family. It's Happy New Year, and it's good to be here.
Happy New Year to you. You got any resolutions, anything special you're leaving behind in 2025 or bringing into 2026 intentionally?
Well, intentionally, I want to be more disciplined. I want to be more focused. I want to be more structured so I can be more productive.
Oh, wow. I think that's me every year. I think I'm with that every year. Yeah. Okay. I'm with that. So I think, it's is it Charles Dickens? It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. I feel like that's where we are now.
Yes.
Because we made some incredible progress in some areas despite what's happening in Washington. And it's not just Washington, because we have this emergence of fascist authoritarian governments all over the world. And yet, I've seen Black Lives Matter Grassroots chalking up win after win. I've seen some of these local mayors and supervisors, alder people chalking up wins. The reparations movement continues to have momentum. Looking at it as an activist who goes back a ways, how would you characterize that? Do you think it's like when you look back at times when we really did make some progress, or times when we really did have a repressive government in Washington, is that normal to be making so much progress while we're dealing with so much loss of ground?
Yeah, and for me, just in terms of reflections, over 56 years of doing this, there are this almost like a roller coaster. We have been constantly since day one, since 1619 and beyond, struggling to advance our conditions and improve our conditions and eliminate our oppression. There's no time that I can point to where we have just accepted our condition and said, well, that's just it. We've always struggled. And the same thing is happening now. But in that struggle, we have to understand and accept that the opposition, that is those people who seek to oppress us, are equally as constant and equally as consistent about their oppression, about their racism, the denial and deprivation of a people's history, humanity, and right to freedom based exclusively on race. And so as long as that is consistent, as long as that is the foundation, then we have to be equally as consistent and equally as, like I said, disciplined. And that means there are these times when we are majorly successful, and then there's these times when we get pushback, and we are in that pushback area now. I can remember, and one of the things that, particularly for me, because I've lived through the '64 Civil Rights Act and all the rest of that,
wow,
and all of that now to be literally undone. And in many cases, I'm fighting fights that I fought years ago, but we are still fighting. And that's the key. I think that is the most relevant point. We are still struggling. We are still fighting, and we don't accept conditions as they are.
I get that, and I understand that organizing is like cleaning your house. You don't just get to do it once and then you never have to do it again. But I remember my dad would talk about the Sisyphus story,
Yes.
And how he felt like we were rolling this boulder up the hill and then it would roll back down on us. Right now, and I don't want to be a doom and gloom type because I don't believe in that, but right now it seems like it's rolling down a lot faster than we can push it up in many ways. I mean, how, just like a lot of people are talking about Venezuela, and I know it's not unprecedented. I know that we've intervened in Latin America in particular, in Africa, places that, the U.S. doesn't respect because they're not governed by white people. Since the beginning of this country, I get that, but it does feel much more aggressive. It feels much more unmasked. To have, Greenland, they're indigenous, but Danish people are white people and they're running it, right? This administration is just kind of going crazy in terms of this imperialist expansion, the so-called Don Rowe theory. And so it's weird to me because it does, maybe in my lifetime or the span of the lifetime that I've had where I've been paying attention, it does feel worse than what I've seen.
Yeah, no, I agree absolutely with that. I thought Nixon was bad. I thought Bush 2 was bad.
I thought Bush 2 was bad.
Yeah.
I thought Reagan was bad.
Reagan was bad, particularly Reagan, because he did it in such a way that made people, feel good about the fact that he was bad. So we've seen this before because he was so likable. We've seen this before. The difference is that this person, and I've talked about this, I made reference to it before, we've had racists in the president's office, and we've had fascists. We've rarely had them together in one person at one time. This is different in that sense, that we have a person who believes and in projecting and protecting whiteness. Not since Woodrow Wilson, at the turn of the century, have we had such, I think, an open, obvious racist, I'm going back to Woodrow Wilson, but we've had them ever since.
Well, the thing is, it's not just him. I mean, you've got Stephen Miller, you've got J.D. Vance. His bench, his white supremacist bench is deep.
And I think that they learned from the first administration. The first time he was in office, they tried to, take his personality and his ideology and confine it within what they thought was the presidential approach. This time, he surrounded himself with people who let Trump be Trump, and he is being Trump. He is a narcissist, pathological liar, and a fascist, and they are letting him be that and glorifying that.
Yeah. By the way, if you want to see us, we're streaming every weekday on YouTube at KBLA 1580 on YouTube.com, and you can jump in the conversation in the comments section. It's always quite robust. And I love the conversation there. So if you're one of those people that doesn't like to call, you can weigh in there. If you do like to call, you're always invited in at 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. That's the number. Today, of course, is the coup anniversary, the anniversary of the storming of the Capitol by the MAGA folks who are now back in power. And I think it's something we have to keep talking about, even though now all of those folks, or mostly all of those folks, have been pardoned, and the man who incited it is back in the White House.
Yes, and and he is living out the example of contradiction. On the one hand, he pardons a person who was convicted of trafficking, of narco trafficking. On the other hand, he goes and kidnaps somebody who is, supposedly doing that. So,
of course, you're referring to the Honduran president. But if you look at, I pulled this article. I'll find it. If you look at Trump's pardons, it's not just one narco trafficker.
Oh, no.
He's got, he's got several drug dealers and quite a few swindlers.
Yep, and people. Most of the people are people with money, and what it says is that you can buy a pardon if you can raise enough money and get to the right people. He'll pardon you. And what's worse is that he has openly said that he doesn't even know most of these people. or what they've
Well,
done.
yeah, I know. And I was reading that they're charging. They're charging for pardons. You cough up, $1 million. I think it's between 1 and 3 million, and you can get a pardon. You too can stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and murder someone if you've got $1 million to pay, the swindler in chief. So that's where we are. I like to bring it up because I feel like now they're rewriting history, revisionist history, and I just want to make sure that while I have a microphone, we remember that this was an attempted coup. It was illegal. That's why pardons were required, and that the instigator of that coup is in the White House. Had we been as vigorous as the Koreans and said, no, you have to go to jail if you do illegal things, we wouldn't be in the predicament we're in right now.
Well, and we have a court that says that he, particularly him, but presidents cannot be held for criminal acts while they're in office. And so we have a compliant courts, we have a do-nothing Congress, and we have a psychopath in the White House.
I mean, do nothing? I don't know. I mean, they just passed the big, beautiful bill.
Well,
do nothing
right.
Good.
Yeah, you're right. I think do nothing of value.
Right,
they have done a lot to hurt the country.
Yeah.
But I mean, and the worst part of it is that we are going to begin to feel that, particularly as it relates to health care. I have for many years been a longtime advocate of single-payer health care. I worked on an initiative in 1994 to get it on the ballot in the state and have promoted it. But universal health care is something that every industrial democracy has, and they pay less for health care than we do and get much better health care. And we're about to find, and now the ACA, which was a bad health care provision, is now even gone. And so people are going to begin to feel
Affordable
the impact.
Care Act is what you're talking about.
Yeah, the ACA.
The Obamacare. Bad, but better than what we had before.
Before that. Better than nothing.
Not great, but yeah, because it still leaves the insurance companies in charge.
In charge, yeah.
That's the bad part. We should have universal health care. Yeah. Yeah. I think people are feeling it now. Not to be all doomy and gloomy, I think the answer is us, we the people. We have to be courageous. We have to stay in these streets, and we have to stay loud. They're making it clear that it's going to be a little bit more challenging to stay loud and stay in these streets, but I don't think that's ever stopped people who really believe in freedom, people who really believe in justice before, and it's not going to stop us now. 800-920-1580 if you want to weigh in. Yesterday, Black Lives Matter LA met with the conservative new district attorney here in Los Angeles, and you were there. So I want to talk about that when we come forward, what Nathan Hochman had to say when he met with Black Lives Matter, what are next steps, and where do we go from here? All that straight ahead on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
KBLA Talk 1580 is pleased to partner with the Empowerment Congress once again for their 34th annual summit. The summit's theme is From Vision to Action, a forum to unlock participatory democracy, and will feature a nonpartisan gubernatorial candidate forum focused on issues of importance to the African American community. The summit is the signature public policy-oriented observance of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy during the national 3-day holiday weekend that celebrates his life. This year's summit will be held on Saturday, January 17th, 2026 at the California Science Center in Exposition Park from 9 to 11 a.m. Admission is free, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. All major announced candidates for California governor for the Democratic and Republican Party nominations have been invited to participate in the candidate forum, which will be moderated by Tavis Smiley. An all-star panel of journalists will pose questions to the candidates, and the forum will be broadcast live on KBLA Talk 1580. This is going to be a big year for local, state, and national politics. The political pulse of 2026 beats on KBLA Talk 1580.
Where will 2026 take you? With a skills-based education from University of Maryland Global Campus, it could take you toward your next success. An accredited state university, UMGC helps working adults like you learn the skills you need for the career you want. And with no application fee through February 11th, there's no better time to start. Choose from more than 135 degrees and certificates in career-relevant fields like business, cybersecurity, healthcare, and more. Plus, UMGC offers online and hybrid classes, no-cost digital resources in place of textbooks for most courses, personalized support, and lifetime career services. And with transfer credits and scholarships for those who qualify, UMGC can help you take a leap forward no matter where you are on your education journey. Classes start soon. Apply now and get your application fee waived through February 11th. Visit umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
One year ago, flames tore through Altadena and Eaton Canyon, changing lives forever. From the ashes, can a beloved community rise stronger? Hi, I'm Dominique DePrima, host of First Things First, weekday mornings, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580. And I'm inviting you to join us on Wednesday, January 7th, as we broadcast live from Perry's Joint on the one-year anniversary of this horrific and devastating fire. We're remembering those we lost, celebrating the heroes and sheroes who answered the call, and honoring the resilience of neighbors who are determined to rebuild together.
I've been a strong black woman a long time, and I can't just break down now.
Hear the stories of survival, the voices of recovery, the spirit of community that the fire couldn't destroy, and yes, the angst of those who still do not know where they go from here.
Yeah, where am I go?
At KBLA Talk 1580, we don't just cover the story, we're part of this community, and we've done our level best to hold those responsible for this fire accountable. And 1 year later, we're still standing together.
It is my hopes that Black people will rebuild those homes.
So join us live at Perry's Joint, 2051 Lincoln Avenue in Pasadena, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Wednesday, January 7th, as we commemorate the 1 year anniversary of the Altadena Eaton Canyon fire. Because some stories demand to be remembered.
This too shall pass.
This KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall is sponsored by LA Fire Justice.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DePrima right now.
Back to me, Miles Lois here, and of course, Akili is with us of Black Lives Matter LA, the Fannie Lou Hamer Institute, and more. People are clowning me for wearing my coat in the studio. Okay, it's cold in here, all right? It's LA winter. But yesterday, you guys met with Nathan Hochman, who's the district attorney now here in Los Angeles. He defeated progressive prosecutor George Gascon with a lot of help from police unions, the former DA, who's a Republican, and others. Actually, a couple of former DAs that all helped this man. He won. To me, he seems like a MAGA mini-me. I've interviewed him a couple times. He said, when I talked to him when he was running, that he would hold police accountable, that he was conservative, he was going to bring back the gang enhancements, bring back the death penalty, but that he would hold cops accountable. Then I heard that he had moved to drop the charges against the two cops that were indicted for killing Christopher Deandre Mitchell. And I know that's still in limbo, but it seems to be the Trump playbook, right? They're going case by case by case, and trying to overturn charges or lessen the accountability for cops who kill, cops who harm folks. So I was surprised to see that he had agreed to a meeting with Black Lives Matter.
Well, you shouldn't be, because one of the things that has happened over the years is that whites in power think that all they have to do is meet with us, maybe do a photo op, and listen to us maybe vent and kind of check that off and move on. And so this was a classic example of that. And I've seen a lot of it over the years. White folks in position, they think, first of all, they think they're smarter than us in the first place. And so they're walking into the room where they think they're the smartest people in the room, and they're arrogant, and think, okay, I heard some black people, I've heard this before, I hear this all the time, and I met with you. And that demonstrates to the public that I'm a reasonable person. I met with Black Lives Matter, and I heard what they had to say. And so this is an example of that. And once again, and he entered that room with that kind of attitude. We confronted him right here one Saturday, right after This Is Not a Drill, because he came here, and we confronted him about his positions and the rest, and it turned into he wanted to lecture us about this is not how you do things. And I particularly took exception with that. Your oppressor can't tell you how to protest. Your oppressor can't tell you how to lift your oppression. And he is big on that. The only thing he didn't do yesterday is wag his finger at us and say, let me tell you what to do. So he entered this meeting, at least from my vantage point, believing that, let me hear what you got to say, but it's not going to make a real difference. But I'm going to do it anyway. And so if you enter a discussion like that, if you enter, a meeting like that, the outcome is what it was. We called for the meeting. He responded. And he brought in a gaggle of his own staff and was going to explain to us in why he does what he does. And he framed it in trying to suggest that, both on the defense, he was a defense attorney and a prosecutor. So he talked about his prosecutor career and his defense career, and that he has had, as a defense attorney, he's prosecuted, or not prosecuted, he's defended clients against the police. But in the end, it comes down to the same thing. The fact that he took millions of dollars from these police associations, he is in fact going to defend the police, and it's evident in the fact that he's willing to drop the charges. And on January 8th, he's going to be in court, and he is willing to drop the charges against 2 police officers who were finally brought, at least an indictment was brought against them for the murder of Christopher Deandre Mitchell in Torrance, California in 2018. And they roll up on Christopher Deandre Mitchell. Within 15 seconds, they shoot into the car he was in, and they kill him. And they finally now are being held accountable, because one of the things that Black Lives Matter has focused on is transparency and accountability as it relates to police shootings. He now is proposing to drop the charges, and one of the things that he focused on was that he felt that they couldn't get a conviction, and he threw the past 2 administrations under the bus, both Jackie Lacey and Gascon. They did everything wrong, and he was left with no option, no choice but to drop the charges. And we hear this all the time. If it had been the reverse, that is, had it not been police and just been civilians, they would be prosecuting this case. They would be going hard and fast after the case. And he kept couching his rationale in that he didn't think he could convince a jury beyond a reasonable doubt of the guilt of these 2 officers, Matthew Concannon and Chavez, that he couldn't, and so because he didn't think he was going to get a W, he's not going to take an L. That's basically what it came down to.
That's what he says. I don't know that I buy it. He doesn't seem to have that same worry in going after Councilmember Curran Price, and in the sloppy prosecutorial practices of George Gascon. He's adding more onto that and trying to make it into something that it's not. I don't buy it, but again, we're right up against news, traffic, and sports. But one of the things I want to look at, what comes out of it, what are the next steps, and also interesting that he would throw Jackie Lacey under the bus. That surprises me. I am not surprised he would throw Gascon. That was his opponent when he ran for DA. But Jackie Lacey also refused to meet with Black Lives Matter. So I'm wondering if that had anything to do with him accepting the meeting as well. She ended up losing her seat partly because of that refusal to meet with Black Lives Matter. We've got news, traffic, and sports, then more on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. A Detroit woman says her family in Venezuela watched U.S. forces capture President Nicolas Maduro from their window. Jessica Gutierrez says they called her as the attack began, describing a long, frightening night.
I got a phone call from my family at 1 o'clock in the morning here, 2 o'clock there, that, the United States is attacking now and we're not sure what's going to happen. You don't know what that's going to look like.
Her family owns El Rey de las Arepas restaurant in Southwest Detroit. Crews are installing giant letters on the Obama Presidential Center in Chicago. The panels will display words from President Obama's 2015 Selma speech, wrapping around the 225-foot tower. And Jill Scott is back with her first album in more than a decade. It's called To Whom This May Concern, featuring 19 tracks and collabs with Ab Soul, JID, Tierra Whack, and Too Short. The album drops February 13th. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Clippers held on for a one-point win over Golden State Monday night at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. Chris Dunn's 2 free throws with 42 seconds left held up for a 103-102 victory. 24 points and 12 rebounds for Kawhi Leonard. The Lakers are on the road tonight in New Orleans. Top 5 women's college basketball teams in this week's top 25 rankings: UConn, Texas, South Carolina, 14-1 UCLA, and Oklahoma. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford finished the regular season leading the NFL with 46 touchdown passes and 4,707 passing yards. Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua led the NFL with 129 catches. In case you're curious, Stafford's 46 TD passes is not an NFL single-season record. Peyton Manning holds the record with 55 TD passes in 2013 when he was with Denver. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Hi, it's Tavis Smiley. For 40 years, I have had the privilege, and I don't use that word lightly, the privilege of sitting down with presidents, world leaders, authors, artists, activists, the folk who shape our world. Thousands of conversations, tens of thousands of questions. And somewhere along the way, I realized that the art of conversation is dying. So here's what I'm going to do about it. I am now going to teach what these almost 40 years have taught me: how to have conversations that matter. 6 courses, from the anatomy of a great conversation to generous listening as a superpower to handling difficult exchanges without losing your dignity or your mind. Go to TavisTalks.com right now. That's TavisTalks.com. Download the free guide, see what's coming, sign up to be the first to know when we launch the series. Conversation is a skill, and like any skill, it can be taught. I'll see you in class.
Looking for something new? Try fencing, the Olympic and Paralympic sport that mixes speed, strategy, and fun. It's like chess meets cardio. Quick feet, quick decisions, and a satisfying beep when you score a point. Kids, teens, and adults can start anytime. No experience needed, and many clubs have loaner gear. Coaches teach fundamentals and safety from day one. Find a beginner class near you at usafencing.org/tryfencing. That's usafencing.org/tryfencing.
Picture this, you're on a date, and then bad breath happens. Confidence gone. Here's the truth. Most gums and mints are just bad breath Band-Aids, but not Zellman's Minty Mouth. The functional breath freshener you swallow. Tiny dual-action capsules with mint on the outside, parsley seed oil inside, clinically tested to fight the toughest offenders, even garlic and onions. It's only available online. Go to Zellmans.com, Zelmins, Zellmans.com, code FRESH for 15% off.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Akili is here. He's with the Black Lives Matter Grassroots, but also founder of the Fannie Lou Hamer Institute. And just reporting back a little bit on what happened at the meeting yesterday between Black Lives Matter Grassroots, the LA branch, right, and District Attorney Nathan Hochman, who was elected last year. He is the more conservative DA who was elected with the support of police associations and ousted the progressive DA, as we were talking off the mic, how progressive DAs all over the country have been targeted and taken down. Now, I mentioned before news, traffic, and sports, I remember well when Jackie Lacey, our first African-American DA, who came on my show on a different radio station back then, asking for our vote, and then pretty much avoided me, Black Lives Matter, and most of the community for her entire tenure as DA. She sent more folks to death row than any other DA, most of them black, none of them white. And she refused to meet with BLM, and eventually that led to the protests at her home. That eventually was part of why she lost.
Well, but what really led to us protesting her was the fact that she was unwilling to prosecute police. At the time, there were over 600 killings by law enforcement in the county, and it was triggered by the murder of in Inglewood. The police shot into the car, and I'm blanking on the names, and killed two black parents.
Yeah, I remember that case.
And we tried, the family tried to meet with them, with Black Lives Matter, to convince or to at least say to her that there needs to be accountability here. There needs to be some effort, and she refused. Thanks to Mama Paula, she raised the point that we got to do something, and that's when we started the Wednesday.
Talking about Paula Minor, of course, for those who don't know her personally. Yeah.
Yes, Mama Paula Minor, who is on the core team of Black Lives Matter.
It was Mark Hinton, Sandaline, and Keisha Michael.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. And the police shot into their car. They were asleep, and the police shot in their car and killed them. And Jackie Lacey was unwilling to even do more than the preliminary investigation that she accepted from the Inglewood police. Their investigation said there's no grounds for prosecution, which was her standard practice at the time. And this was just one more killing of black people.
Right. I mean, I understand that was the initial impetus, but what ended up happening is the demand for a meeting, which Lacey dodged, and which ended up with the protests at her house, where her husband stuck a gun in the face of in the chest of the protesters there, the Black Lives Matter
Melina Abdullah in particular.
And then, that was part of the remove Jackie Lacey. She ended up losing. And so I'm wondering if you think D.A. Hochman is trying to take a different approach because he saw that didn't end well.
I think that's part of it. But also, like I said earlier, he is one of these white guys who believes that he's the smartest person in the room, and all he has to do is walk in. He's going to tell you what's happening. He's glib. He knows what's going on, and you don't. That's a part of his arrogance that he can do that. And so yesterday's meeting was a demonstration of both his arrogance, that, yes, I'm the smartest person in the room, I know what I'm doing, and, yeah, I can meet with you and hear what y'all got to say, but it don't make no difference. I'm still going to do this. And that's exactly kind of what happened. The other key element to yesterday's meeting was that there were family members in the room. The mother of Christopher Deandre Mitchell, who has been fighting since 2018 for accountability in relationship to her son. They do. I mean, in many ways, her efforts and the efforts of Black Lives Matter. And this is a good example of why there is a Black Lives Matters, because had we not got involved in that murder, in that case, it would have been just another black person being that the police killed and swept under the rug and kept moving. But for 6 years or more, we showed up at the city council, we protested, we did a number of other things, and now they have a police commission. The officers were indicted, and they settled with the family, and so that was a success. Those were victories. But this particular DA is basically saying that unless there is just overwhelming, and even if there was overwhelming, they're not going to prosecute killer cops. And that's why we have protested. That's why we protested Jackie Lacey. That's why we're protesting him. That's why we wanted to send him a message yesterday. And we sent him a message, I think, a threefold message. The first is that we don't trust you. That was the first message, because, you're not committed to justice in a relationship to.
So prosecute. The message is we don't trust you, but what action? I mean, what good does that do us?
Well,
how does that help the community? Like, I feel like we need concrete demands.
And we made concrete.
We don't trust you is not a concrete demand.
Well, but that was only the first message. The second message was we are together. The third message was we expect you to prosecute. So we sent a message yesterday in that meeting. Now, because of his arrogance and his own whiteness, that may not. And it, I think, is going to, certainly for us, is going to intensify our protest. And every Wednesday, and I won't do that in the right now. Every Wednesday, we have been out in front of his office protesting him. We are going to intensify that protest. We have seen that he's not committed to prosecuting police, and more importantly, he is surrounding himself with people who reinforce that attitude that he has, that I'm white, I'm right, and I don't care what you say. And even in the midst of the people of Christopher Deandre's mother, who on 2 occasions said to him, "This is my only child," and she raised this twice. You have 3 children. What would you do if one of your children had been murdered by police, and you expect transparency and accountability? What would you be doing? And he fell back on, well, I can't prove this beyond a reasonable doubt. And so let it go. Right.
So the demands were prosecute Christopher Deandre Mitchell's killers.
Yes. Don't drop the charges. We circulated a petition.
As far as broader demands, that's for another time.
The overall demand is transparency and accountability as it relates to police killings.
Got it.
That's an overall demand, but that's been our demand since we got started.
And you brought in this report
yes.
That you presented to him. The petition was presented, right?
Yes.
Thousands of signatures saying prosecute. I signed it. So I know what it says. It says to prosecute Christopher Deandre Mitchell. What is this report, and why was this important to
A couple of things. The petition said don't drop the charges.
Right.
And within 5 days, we got close to 2,000 people to sign that petition. But the other thing that we presented to him, because we're part of a coalition, the District Attorney Accountability Coalition, and in partnership with ACLU. And so we presented a couple of things. One, the first thing he did was reinstate the death penalty. That it's going to be used. The second thing was he opposed the Racial Justice Act, which is something that was was passed and instituted.
Which is crazy because he said on this microphone that he was in support of the Racial Justice Act and that he was planning to use it to deal with profiling or any other kind of racism that, hate crimes.
But he wound up opposing it. He's revitalized these enhancements, which means that more and more black people will now do more and more time. And we've fought to get rid of those enhancements because they only just add time and they're not legitimate. And then finally, he supported. And many of us remember this, Prop 36. I and others were opposed to it. And he has undermined community-centered alternatives. He doesn't. He focuses on locking people up, not looking at how we can not. He has embraced the lock 'em up, throw away the key. And so we presented those points to him. The petition we presented to him.
What was his response to the report and the petition?
The report he just dismissed just as if it were just words on paper. He didn't even recognize it. And one of the things that we wanted to open with was that at his inauguration, Pastor Q was arrested. Because the whole meeting was around.
Detained.
Yes, the whole meeting was around, prosecuting, killer cops, not prosecuting protesters. And he went on to this long tirade about how he really only is going to prosecute, much like you hear with the Trump administration, we're only going after the criminals. Well, but when you throw a broad net like that, you're going to get people who are innocent. And he is taking that same approach.
Was Pastor Q...
he was there.
He was there. Pastor Q from the
and
Church
challenged
Without
him.
Walls.
Yeah, I mean, on his inauguration day, Pastor Q was across the street and he made that point to him with a bullhorn.
Well, yeah, I mean, and they also had the whole thing cordoned off. You couldn't get close to the inauguration.
Yes.
You were behind all of these pylons and stuff. So it wasn't like the DA was in any danger or even that the yelling was disturbing the inauguration. It was far away from where they were. They still detained him, which is bizarre.
Yes, and detained him and others. And a lot of the impetus for this meeting was around this issue of not prosecuting protesters, but in fact prosecuting, killer cops. And so those were some of the emphasis. He was pretty much dismissive of these points. And he was dismissive of, there were two families in the room. The first family was that of Christopher Deandre Mitchell. His mother was there and been very vocal and active in police in holding police accountable. The second person who was there was from the most recent killing of the ICE agent who killed
Keith Porter
Keith
Jr.
Porter,
Yeah.
and demanding that an investigation be made and that this person be held accountable. And so we put and there was a family member who was in the room who made the point that they expect both transparency and accountability because of in any other environment, if I went back into my house, got a gun and shot somebody, I'd be in jail right now. But this ICE agent, this off-duty ICE agent who shot Keith, went into his house, put on his tactical gear, and came out and shot Keith Porter. And Keith was celebrating as...
Allegedly, right?
Yes.
Allegedly. We don't know for sure. Yeah. He was allegedly shooting to celebrate the new year, and then this guy goes into his house, comes out, kills him. Now Homeland Security is saying it was an active shooter and that Keith Porter shot at the agent, even though there is no evidence of that.
Yeah.
So we'll continue this after news, traffic, and sports. But the short version is the DA says no. I mean, how did he respond? Because supposedly the LAPD robbery homicide division is investigating, and supposedly Homeland Security and the FBI are investigating.
And just like he dismisses other things, he was dismissive of Tyler's point about she wanted a full investigation.
Tyler being Keith Porter's cousin.
Cousin, yes.
Yeah.
And He was pretty much dismissive of that we'll wait and see what, that's not our role. We only wait. We get it once the investigation happens. And so he was pretty much dismissive of that. His whole attitude was dismissive.
Yeah, I remember it well. Akili is here. You're invited in, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Wondering, when we'll address this when we come forward, if there has been some kind of directive to these newsrooms to not mention Black Lives Matter. And I'll tell you why I think that when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
With your Los Angeles Public Library card, you can access the latest music, movies, audiobooks, ebooks, graphic novels, and more, all for free. Check it out at lapl.org/emedia. That's lapl.org/emedia.
Worried about unpredictable utility bills this winter? LADWP's Level Pay makes budgeting a breeze. With Level Pay, you'll receive a monthly bill that stays the same. No surprises. Even past due amounts can be rolled in, and you'll skip those seasonal spikes from heating your home. Sign up today at ladwp.com/levelpay. That's ladwp.com/levelpay, or call 1-800-DIAL-DWP and take control of your bill.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has worksource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Not everything announces itself. Some things simply arrive, and the room is compelled to adjust. This is grooming without apology, without noise, without compromise. Gods and money, organic formulations, clean precision, crafted for skin that does not ask for permission to be felt. Element Cream, a rare hydration layered like an oud at dusk, measured, enduring, unmistakably masculine, moisturizing oil, a quiet revolution, restoring what stress, climate, and time attempts to claim. This is not skincare. It is composure made visible. It is inevitability. Gods and money exist impeccably. Discover the ritual at godsandmoney.com. That's godsandmoney, MONY.com.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back, indeed. You know I hate that drop, Miles. Can we just get rid of it? We know you'd stick around. To me, that's arrogant. I'm always hopeful people stick around. I really don't know you will, but I'm happy that you're here with me this morning. Akili is here. So what am I referring to? ABC7 did 2 pieces. One about Waukesha's Law, which was actually authored and pushed through by Black Lives Matter, along with, obviously, the assembly member who carried it, Isaac Bryan. And then at the vigil, which I attended, there was a piece on ABC7 and another one on CBS where they seemed to go to great pains not to mention Black Lives Matter, even though BLMLA were among the organizers of that vigil, along with the cousin of Keith Porter Jr., who is actually a member of BLMLA. And it's just what I've noticed, and you say, well, they've never really tried to put BLM grassroots front and center, but it seems like there is a very some kind of directive.
Deliberate.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have believed for some time there has been a deliberate effort at minimizing and dismissing Black Lives Matters. They used to make reference to the Black Lives Matters movement. They don't do that anymore. And we have been very active here, particularly in Los Angeles, which is where we got started. But we believe for a number of years there have been a deliberate effort to minimize the name, to minimize the impact, and to minimize the work that Black Lives Matters LA has done and Black Lives Matters grassroots movement has done overall.
I mean, they minimize and also blame for everything under the sun.
Yes.
Which is a really strange combination. But, and I was disturbed to see other people that I would consider progressive reposting an article from the LA Times. Ben Crump did it. Colin Kaepernick did it. With no mention of Black Lives Matter around Waukesha's law. And we know that law, which forces, law enforcement to notify families when people are killed or gravely injured in custody, would not have happened without the family of Waukesha Wilson and Black Lives Matter.
And Dr. Melina Abdullah and Sheila Bates in particular. And so the fact that, once again, and this I think is a part of the efforts that people make, and we've struggled with this almost since our beginning, that we are not yet fully accepted, and I'm doing these air quotes here.
Yet, I like the yet. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, and I mean I hate to make this kind of analogy. It's almost like when hip hop got started. Nobody believed that hip hop was going to be around 50 years later. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, that's just a fad. Black Lives Matters is just a fad. We're going to go, but we got 52 chapters around the world. We are on the front lines fighting for, accountability and transparency and working with families. And yet we are still being overlooked and dismissed. And I think it is this belief that somehow or another we just go kind of like other kind of black groups, be blown in the wind. And that's clearly not the case. That's clearly not the case. We took a simple statement, Black Lives Matter, and turned it into a movement. And I think there are some people who are unwilling to accept that.
Well, I think it's, for me, I look at it as a conscious erasure.
Yes.
I don't look at it as them just not being willing to accept it. And I wasn't there at the very, very beginning, but I was there toward the beginning of hip hop, and I remember that clearly. Well, and I felt like, there were some people that said it was just a fad, like the TV station management where I worked. But some of them were saying it's bad. This is low culture.
Yes.
The Tipper Gores, the C. Dolores Tuckers, who said this is not only we don't like this, or not only it's a fad, but we think it's evil.
Yeah.
And so we're going to suppress it.
Well, I think it's that same thinking that is connected to Black Lives Matters. And because we've seen, the issue, and when we first got started, we wanted a movement, not a moment, because we've seen there have been expressed outrage after murders of black people ever since. As long as it's. And
I guess what I'm saying is I think it's Trump driven. I think that people are afraid because DEI is out, because people are being punished for anything that helps black people. So I think that they're afraid to say Black Lives Matter because they think they're going to be punished in some kind of way by this administration.
Yeah, and I agree. I think it's been intensified. I think it exists that this is just a passing fad. There'll be another black group next week that does this kind of thing, da-da-da-da-da. But it's now being intensified because Trump has put Black Lives Matters and said that they're part of the extreme left kind of thing. So it has been intensified. And I think given that intensity, there are and will be people in the institutions that say, well, let's just stay away from that.
Okay, we only got a minute. God, time flies when you're on the radio. What are next steps when it comes to the Hochman meeting?
Very quickly, join us Wednesday, tomorrow, at our weekly protest at 10:10. I should know this because I say it every week. But our weekly protest at the Hall of Injustice, and then on January 8th, which is Thursday, at 8:30, we're going back into court to at least publicly express our opposition to the DA's effort at dropping the charges against the police officers that killed Christopher Deandre Mitchell. So join us at the municipal court at this one I know at 110 Temple Street. It's on the 9th floor at 8:30, January 8th. We want and we know that they're going to move to drop the charges, but we want a big public showing to make sure that if they're going to do it, they don't do it without public scrutiny, and they do it knowing that they are going to be facing the public. So
211 West Temple is Hall of Justice, or Injustice, as call it.
Yes.
For Wednesday.
Every Wednesday.
Akili, thank you so much. We can follow BLM Grassroots everywhere and BLMLA.
Yes.
Or Black Lives Matter.
And thank you, and Happy New Year once again.
Absolutely. Your favorite KBLA Republican, John Wood Jr., joins me next hour, only right here.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. A Detroit woman says her family in Venezuela watched U.S. forces capture President Nicolas Maduro from their window. Jessica Gutierrez says they called her as the attack began, describing a long, frightening night.
I got a phone call from my family at 1 o'clock in the morning here, 2 o'clock there, that,